Hey, it's me. I know your phone won't pick up anymore, but the number still holds your handwriting. So I dial like I'm knocking on an old door that remembers my knuckles. There's a kettle going in the background, it fills the room with the kind of steam you used to fold into your lap. I keep waiting for it to whistle your name. It doesn't. The house is not a choir, just walls. I walk past the station today. The board flips cities like cards in a trick, and I still look for the one we never drew. A train pulled in, opened its mouth, and every seat was a small goodbye practicing. I found your keys in the bowl. Their metal still shaped like coming home. I turned them over like coins for a phone call, like there might be a payphone somewhere that takes sorrow and gives you back a voice. Listen, I keep saving the little things, the chipped mug, the threadbare sleeve, the way dust arranges itself into your outline on quiet afternoons when the sun forgets to hurry. If this message were a bridge, I'd hammer the planks with breath and heartbeat, drag it over the gap between now and when. But wood splinters and syllables fall through my mouth is a pocket with holes. You said to leave the light on, I did. It makes a halo on the sink, crown for a kingdom of empty plates. The moon comes by to wash its hands in it. I think I'm calling to say I'm still here, you're still everywhere, and the world insists on continuing like a song. No one remembers learning, but somehow I carry July in my pulse, August tucked behind my teeth. The warm pavement under bare feet, the chlorine blue dare of the deep, and the citrus on my wrist when midnight wasn't late. I can't hold the season, but it keeps holding me. Remember the pier, how we timed our bravery with the waves, how the board plates dumped our courage through our souls, bruised beaches in a brown bag, sticky wrist fireworks stitched to the ceiling of the town. We learned the taste of rain on our concrete, laughed so hard the sky had a wagon, made plans big enough to need both hands. I keep a seat for the day that never leaves, right here beside the window. The warm pavement under bare feet, the chlorine blue dare of the deep, and the citrus on my wrist when midnight wasn't late. I can't hold the season, but it keeps holding me. So here's to the soft burned shoulders and loud horizons, to the slow parade of bikes at golden hour, to everything we promised the wind and meant when autumn clears its throat. I'll answer anyway. I remember I'm sunlit from the inside. It's somewhere the day is still long enough for toast and radio static, windows fog with soup, steam, and small miracles. You're teaching me how to hold a wrench and worry a world. We were birthday candles bent like question marks, late buses, loud kitchens, card games that never ended. Your hands a map I learned by heart. I still set 2 plates by muscle memory. I still check the weather like you're traveling. If grief is a room, I keep the door on its hinges. If love is a chord, I play it with trembling thumbs. I say your name like a password, and every lock inside me clicks. And you're the light I leave on. The seat safe, the song stuck in the walls. You are every good goodbye I didn't know how to give. I can't touch the past, but it reaches back and steadies me. Remember the bike on the hill, you running beside me, breath loud, promise louder. The garden after rain or thunder, your nails, stories under your tongue. Winter evenings, blanket forts, film credits, your shoulder a quiet I could sleep in. Even the arguments were proof of weather. We stormed, we cleared, we watered the same house. Last voicemail is a lighthouse. I sail by its single ordinary beam. If memory is thread, I nod it to today. If sorrow is salt, I season every meal with you. I open the window, let the years move through. Keep what smells like home. You're the light I leave on. The seat safe, the song stuck in the walls. You are every good goodbye I didn't know how to give. I can't touch the past, but it reaches back and steadies me. So I'll keep the porch swept, the kettle honest, your stories folded in the drawer with the maps. When the wind asks who taught me how to stay, I'll answer with both hands. I love you in present tense. Walk with me in the small things, in the long silence, until the silence sounds like home. I paced the hallway of my head, counted cracks in ceilings, counted the beats between footsteps and courage. Loneliness sat across from me, unblinking. We learned each other's faces. I learned I am not a vacancy. I am the tenant and the landlord of this just. I breathe until my ribs remember their doors that swing outward. I stand up in the empty and call it mine. I am alone, not abandoned. Watch me rise. I raise my name like a lantern, light the corners that forgot me. This heart is occupied. This body is permission granted. I lace my shoes with small promises, walks that end when I decide, lists that begin with drink water, text someone kind, be someone kind. I water the plant and it forgives every missed day. I forgive too. I learned the city by its heartbeat, not by its crowds. I take the long way home and discover home is anywhere I carry myself. If the road is empty, good, there's room to draw it as I go. If doubt is loud, I turn the volume down with steady